welcome to the channel, my boys. It has been a minute. We can talk about why it's been that long another time, but for today's video we will actually be going over the RELL movie. The RELL Bros finally dropped the movie, and I'm here to fully break it down for y'all and condense it into a nice little video for you boys. I went to sleep last night thinking about this game. I woke up this morning thinking about this game. That sounds crazy, but that's what happened. We have a lot to go over, so let's just get right into it. So first things first, let's go over the customization. All right, off rip, we see we have 3 different character slots in the game, which is actually immaculate. So that means we'll be able to have a lot more fun in game, going for different builds, different ways you want to progress with each character slot. So that all seems great. Something interesting as well during the customization part was the races. So far from what it looks like, we'll actually be able to choose what race we want. So it really doesn't seem like we have to spend for any of the races at all, which is really interesting. So I'm kind of wondering if the races will still have certain buffs, but maybe just not something like too overpowered. I don't know, but I think that would be kind of cool still. But you can also choose what traits you want to specifically focus on for your characters. So far there was health, endurance, defense, spiritual, and willpower. Oh, and luck as well. And now I'm kind of assuming that willpower is for hockey, and luck is probably like the higher that stat is, the higher chance you have of getting rare items. I mean, I'm just assuming, but that would make the most sense. And then also something pretty cool is the fact that you can customize the colors of your outfits as well. So it's just a small little dope feature. I don't know if all the outfits are color customizable, but from what it sounds like, they just might be. That's essentially the gist of the customization in the game. So let's move on to progression. So this is the most interesting. Honestly, there was a lot of interesting. I don't even know what was the most, but I think this one is probably the most personally. But so far it seems like the progression is actually based on something called talents in game. So the current talents looks like it's cooking, fishing, woodcutting, mining, shipwright, crafting, navigation, thieving, and selling, which is very interesting. We saw a little bit of the selling and where you could drop certain items that people could then click on, and then if they buy it off of you, apparently you get EXP for that, or you get some progression for that, which is super dope. So this is essentially 9 different ways of progression throughout the game, 9 different things you can choose to master. And this doesn't even really take into consideration like the possible quests that they're gonna be in game, or even maybe, now this might be a big reach, but a potential, you know, storyline. Like, bro, come on. So pretty much the progression doesn't seem to be limited to just one way. There's plenty of ways you can choose to progress, which is well, just everything we've asked for, isn't it? Like, and something else that they actually didn't really touch on too much was the stats. So they said it wouldn't increase your attack power or something like that. So I'm assuming for attack power that would probably increase based off of the gear you have on, or like your weapon, for example. But the stats seem to just be the things from your talents. So again, like the health, the defense, the endurance, etc. Like, it seemed to be those, but I don't know how you're gonna be meant to increase those just yet. We haven't heard anything about it yet, so that will be very interesting. I'm assuming that'll be for movie 2. But now let's move on to the combat. So first things first, the combat really seems to be like an upgraded version of it since the last time we saw it. But one huge new thing we got was weapon switching, or you could just call that quick draw. So it looks like you can switch weapons mid-combat. You can go from a sword, switch, and then go to a gun in literally one combo. Like, that's crazy, buddy. That's crazy. They just showed a little bit of that, and I think I bust. I let a little something out, I'm not gonna lie. But also, the Geppo was also another crazy change. So this time the Geppo didn't actually force you to only go upward. So you only jumped up before, but now you can still jump up if you want to, but you can also aim where you want to go, and then you can begin a combo mid-air and start mixing somebody's ass up right in front of you, bro. Like, that's crazy just from your Geppo. Like, bro, it's gonna be super cool to see what different types of combos you can create once the game is actually out, especially with the quick draw and then the air combos, and then with the Geppo, bro. And we got to see some executions and the sneak mechanic as well, so you can literally run up behind someone, catch them off guard. And yeah, I also thought it was really interesting that RELL said the sneaks would mostly be useful for NPCs. So you can do it on players, but he said it would mostly be useful for NPCs. So hey, again, large reach, but it could also, like I was saying earlier, maybe be hinting at a potential storyline. You know what I'm saying? Hey, again, it could be a reach, but you know, like, it could have sneak quests like in Marvel Spider-Man or Batman Arkham Asylum, where there's certain parts in the storyline where you have to sneak and you have to like be stealthy and stuff. Hey man, I'm just saying, that would be dope if there was a storyline. And on top of that, that's also another form of progression too. So that's already like 10 different ways to progress. Yeah, no, that would be crazy. Moving on from that, we're also going to talk about the crews. So one of the coolest things, which I think is also pretty slept on, is the crew customizer in this game. So I never expected to actually see a crew customizer. Here you literally get to customize the flag in game if you want to. So you can choose different skulls, different accessories for it. You can change the colors to whatever you like. Like, this gives the players so much freedom and options to do what we want, you know? It's actually insane. And it seems like with the in-game crew customizer, like no crews might even have the same logos because there's so many different options for whatever kind of thing you want, like bro. But this is definitely great for new players as well, especially. Now, something everyone wanted to see, including myself, in this movie was devil fruits. But regarding the devil fruits, not much was really shown, but they did say something that caught a lot of people's eye, and it was something about the devil fruits not being stronger than ships. So they pretty much went on to say that they never want this game to have like crazy OP devil fruit abilities, or they don't want devil fruits to be like the main form of travel or the main form of attack and etc. And honestly, I really think that's a good thing. It seems like devil fruits are going to be more like an accessory to your combat rather than like the main destroyer that everyone's used to it being in games. I mean, I think it's a good thing. It kind of prevents it from things being too out of hand in game later on, especially when the more hype stuff comes out. So yeah, I mean, I also feel like if the devil fruits feel impactful, they feel strong, maybe not damage wise and whatnot, but like they just feel strong, then I don't think anyone really minds it that much, to be honest with you. I'd rather have a balanced game than a crazy OP game, you know what I mean? Now moving on to the crafting. So this was actually super sick as well. You'll be able to actually craft different types of armors, upgrade your weapons, craft clothes, craft food, etc. So you can upgrade your weapons about 20 times from what RELL said in the video. And something cool that I noticed was certain upgrades for items will require you to have a sea stone. So that means weapons could even injure Logia devil fruit users, and it might even give them a slight debuff. Again, this is just me chatting. I'm assuming it could give them a debuff because that would kind of make sense, but who knows? That's still dope regardless. And then also on top of that, they're adding enchantments to your weapons and clothing as well. So you can add a fire enchantment, you can add a lightning enchantment, ice, etc. Like, bro, it's crazy. And then something that I think they also said was going to be a big part of the game was the blueprints. So you're going to be able to use blueprints to help craft items in the game. So it's not even just clothing, it's clothing, ships, weapons, etc. And I'm pretty sure they said like the sea beasts or sea kings drop them, and you can also find them like just from exploring the map and stuff like that as well. So seems like these are going to be pretty rare. So hey, I'm gonna have to raid your ship and steal yours, buddy. Oh, now let's move on to a part of the video that took quite a while. Everyone's continued to call it Yap Seas for a minute, bro, but we're gonna talk about the ships. Something I noticed upon like rewatching the movie, which I watched at 2x speed because hey bro, look. But if you look here, you can actually see there are stats for the ships. So there's speed, armor, cannons, turn speed, and ram strength, which is super dope. Also, the craziest part about it is that you can literally fight on the ships. Like, while the ship is moving, your character is not gonna get flung off the boat. The boat's not gonna keep going forward if you jump into the air, even with Geppo. Like, this is crazy. This is actually insane. We've never seen something like this on Roblox ever. I feel like I've said that a million times in this video, like, but we've literally never seen that before. We can have ship battles on the ship without like flinging off of it or anything. This is gonna be crazy, boys. And then also the ship customization seems to be a lot more in-depth in this game. You can literally change the middle, front, and back of the ships to whatever kind of designs. They have plenty of different types as well. You can change the colors. You can even change the exact type of ship from a dinghy to the galleon. You can also create ships with like certain builds. So sometimes you might go for like a more defense focused ship, or maybe a more speed focused ship. Like, you can change those things about it too. And then you can even add armor to the ship or turn into like a more steam powered boat as well. With like, who even like how what are they cooking, bro? They're cooking a 5-star meal. Even the cannon, something as little as the cannons, you can change the cannon type from a heavy cannon to a burst cannon, bro. And then you can also equip a crew onto your ship, bro. There's so much more I could really talk about when it comes to this part, but I'm gonna stop yapping because yeah. And then let's move on to the next thing. This might be the last one. We're gonna talk about the Marines a little bit. Now, we didn't see too much about the Marines, but hey man, what we did see is if you do any funny business in town, the Marines are gonna come over, beat your ass, and then send you to jail, buddy. So, and then once you're free, you might be stuck in the Marine base because apparently the door doesn't open for non-Marines. So I don't know how you're gonna get out of that, to be honest. But yeah, and then in the Marine base, you can go in and choose to enlist in the Marines, but it also seems like to fully rank up to an admiral, you have to prove yourself to the world government, quote unquote, which is kind of insane. Like, that's crazy. No, the world government is literally confirmed for RELL Seas then. So like how much other stuff is there in this game? But yeah, no, there wasn't too much said about the Marines just yet, so I'm sure we're gonna have to wait and see until maybe movie 2 or 3. But just a few extra things I wanted to talk about as well was the lockpicking, which is a dope mechanic, and it seemed like it was a bit of a mini game. So it sounded like, from what they were saying, rarer chests would probably have harder lockpicking, because I think RELL said it goes from easy, medium to hard. So clearly, like, the rarer things are going to be the hardest ones to open, obviously. So if I'm also not mistaken, I think they said more stats in thieving would make like lockpicking slightly easier, or it gives you like progression EXP or something like that. I might be mistaken, but I think if that's the case, that would be really cool. And it also has me thinking, like, are you going to be able to save chests that you find so that if you don't have the lockpicking skill, could you just take it to your crewmate and then they might have the skill and they open it for you? Like, hey man, hey, I'm just saying, I think that would be crazy. And then another extra thing I wanted to talk about was the wildlife. So at some point in the movie, we saw like random wildlife just spawning around the map, you know. They were literally abusing a deer for fun, buddy. Somebody needs to call PETA or PETA, whatever, and we need to get them arrested. Then we also even saw a dinosaur and a literal bear swimming in the water. Like, this is crazy, bro. This is gonna all add into essentially my final takeaway with the video is, like, from everything we've seen so far, this game looks to be a lot more like an actual MMORPG, you know, like one of those off-platform type of thing, like something where the in-game world has a lot of depth. We even saw something as small as the villager NPCs actually walking around and talking to each other. Like, that's really, really dope. And the marine NPCs are actually already in the village ready to attack you as well if you don't act right. And then they even send your ass to jail. And then even the random Kraken coming out of nowhere to attack them on their ship. Like, bro, imagine you and your boy, y'all trying to sail and go out onto the sea, trying to become the pirate king and shit. All of a sudden you get smoked by a Kraken. I'd be sick of laughter because that'd be funny as hell, but I'd also still be pissed. Like, but that's what I mean though. It seems like this world is actually alive, which is amazing. And I'm just gonna say this, full glaze, buddy. Full glaze. Like, so far from what we've seen, it kind of reminds me of like a Minecraft, but as One Piece, you know. It just seems like a sandbox kind of game where you can just go in and do whatever it is that you want to do. It seems super dope. But yeah, so a lot of the criticism I've seen haven't really been like real criticism, if that makes sense. I don't know. I mean, I would like to see what you guys have like criticism wise down below as well, but a lot of it has just been people saying the game is overhyped or something like that, which is, I mean, we don't know that yet. It's not out, you know. I haven't seen anyone actually give actual criticism. So if you have something that you actually didn't like, hey, put it down below. We can talk about it. If you really like something, talk about it down below as well. And yeah, I'll probably be reading literally all of these comments. So go crazy, guys, go crazy, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully that is not too much from now.